Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm jumping into the new Crisis dungeon, the Sector 5 dungeon. I believe that's what it called. Yeah, the event dungeon, Sector 5 on Very Hard. And I'm going to be showing you guys a run-through slash walkthrough slash guide for clearing this dungeon. As you guys can see, my high score is 951,000, allocating me the S+ score. Now, as for this dungeon itself, it does have some pretty big heavy hitters in here. These names, you would typically see them in a Crisis dungeon and go, oh shit, right? So for example, we have the Galambalor Akana here. This dude is still, to this day, I think one of the hardest bosses in the game. I think that if they were to make this a crash fight, it would just be absolutely insane for this fight. Now, luckily in this Crisis dungeon, we get to fight him first out of the 5, which definitely makes it a lot easier. Now, as you can see, every single enemy here is weak to fire with circle sigils on the recommended sigils right here. So we are going to be speccing for that. Other than that, there is not too much overlap. For example, the Behemoth Pawn can be broken on its defenses, but not its attacks. The Galambalor Akana can be broken on its attacks, but not its defenses. And the other 3 enemies are not really too much of a problem. So we're basically speccing kind of for the Behemoth Pawn and the Galambalor Akana. But the Behemoth Pawn, I'm going to show you guys a strategy for taking this guy down pretty easily towards the end, especially if you have like any level of Crimson Flare and Hellfire. And then the other bosses, we're just going to use a spec'd up Magic Sephiroth with AoE fire damage, just to show you guys that you don't really need these new weapons, at least for this Crisis dungeon, and you can definitely get by with some other stuff. All right, other than that, this boss right here will inflict poison, the Assault Scorpion, and the Blue Dragon can inflict fog. So we are going to bring a healing Asuna Poison and a healing Asuna Fog into this fight. Other than that, I don't think there's too much to say. So I'm going to go into the map. I'm going to show you guys my pathing right here, just to get you guys a heads up. We're going to start here, all right? And I believe we are just going to take the first pathway over here down and take out the Galambalor Akana, all right? After we take out the Galambalor Akana, we're going to run down here, grab a set of ads, I believe. I also do believe there's a set of ads over here. But essentially, our pathing is going to go Galambalor Akana, then we're going to take out the Assault Scorpion, then we're going to take out the Blue Dragon. We're going to take out the 3 soldiers last, and then after that, the final boss down here. All right, so that being said, I actually want to check out what was the recipe from here that we got. Apparently, we did not get the recipe from this. It might have been from the actual hard mode. So that being said, let's get into my actual team build for the fight here, guys. So I haven't brought an OB10 weapon or a DPS weapon in a long time on a guide, but I figured Cloud Sky Splitter is so old at this point that, or I guess not that old, only half a year, but it is kind of long. I think people should have a good amount of time to have gotten this leveled up. But whatever you want, I'm going to be bringing my main fire DPS, a main healer slash buffer, and a Imperiler slash AoE DPS right here, essentially, right? So Imperiler, healer, buffer, DPS. So if you don't have Cloud, just spec your strongest fire attacker in here with all of your fire potency up sub weapons. But essentially, Cloud is going to be running Fire Arcanum, Hellfire, Sky Splitter, Glavenus right here at OB4. We have the Circle Sigil Materia in his 3rd slot, Circle Sigil over here on Sephiroth. Now, I need to make a note here in regard to sigil breaking. So both the Galambalor Akana, I believe, and there's another fight in here that calls for sigil breaking. I'm not actually going for the sigil interrupts in this fight with this build right here. I'm just going to sustain damage and kill them without breaking their sigils. However, if you don't have the DPS to do that, you are going to want to bring weapons that have a circle sigil boost here. For the Galambalor Akana, it has 55 sigils, so I'm guessing you're going to need at least 2 sigil breaking weapons. So for example, Sephiroth's Protector's Blade and Cloud's Glavenus could do it. But either way, just keep that in mind, and you would probably want even a circle sigil on your healer right here. But for this build, like I said, I won't be actually breaking the sigils, I'll just be killing the bosses. Now, as for Matt, I'm running his free exchange voucher, healing costume, gigantic shield. We have Centipede here, and we have Core Defender for the magic defense up. And then we have Sephiroth over here with his Magic Arcanum, Crimson Flare. We have the Prototype Crimson Blade for the AoE Fire, and the free Flame Dragon Blade for the Fire Imperil right here. Now, just to quickly go over the materia, I have a Cura on Cloud, Healing Asuna Poison on Matt, and a Healing Asuna Fog on Sephiroth. So the Fog is for the Blue Dragon, the Healing Asuna is for the Assault Scorpion. Cloud has a physical attack stat stick materia right here, so just put your strongest on your DPS, whatever they are, physical or magic. Fyra on Matt, Fyra on Sephiroth. Then we have Circle Sigil here on Cloud, Circle Sigil here on Sephiroth, and last but not least, a Cura slotted in the 3rd support materia slot for the single target Centipede heal. Now, looking at the back end of these characters, all right, we have Cloud at 147k power, 9.8k HP, 4.9k physical attack, 117 physical defense, and 109 magic defense. Now, if you don't have Cloud quite this strong, don't worry, guys. This dungeon is really not too terrible. You just have to kind of min-max a little bit with your build just to get what you're going for. But if you have Sky Splitter anywhere over OB6, this is going to be probably pretty chill for you guys. But as is the case with all my videos, if you have any questions regarding your team, just drop me a comment and I'm happy to help you guys get through this clear. All right. Other than that, if we go to our abilities here, we have HP at level 3, physical attack at 7, fire potency at 7. We do have the Flame Blade Arcanum, physical ability potency at 2, and physical attack to all allies at 3. Sub-weapons are going to include Radiant Edge at OB4. We have the Stream Saber at OB6. And last but not least, the Burning Ore, the new free weapon, physical attack, fire potency. So nothing really crazy back here. And you could even probably drop the Stream Saber. All right. Now, for Matt, we have 80k power, 8.9k HP. He's got 153 physical defense, 121 magic defense, and 3k power. For his R abilities, HP level 2, we've got physical defense, magic defense at 3 and 2, healing all the way up to 10. Wow, I think that might be the highest I've ever gotten healing. You don't need it that high, guys, just so you know. We have buff debuff extension at level 4, and his sub-weapons are going to include Aerith's Guard Stick. We have the Pumpkin Blaster for heal and magic defense, and also the Feather Scatter for HP and physical defense as well. And now, last but not least, we have Sephiroth over here, our Imperiler / AoE Fire user. 100k power, 8.6k HP, 3.4k magic attack, 111 physical defense, 158 magic defense. Looking at his R abilities, he's got HP at level 2, magic attack at 5. We've got regular attack at 4, fire potency at 7. We've got some ice resist, magic ability mastery, and moving into his sub-weapons, I am bringing the Carrot Sword right here. The Egg Collar, basically everything here is giving magic attack, fire potency here for Sephiroth. His HP is going to be okay with what we've got, all right? And that's essentially going to conclude the team build going into this fight. That being said, let's get into it. Honestly, this fight is pretty fun. I think that I don't really have any complaints about this Crisis Dungeon. I think it's all in all pretty chill. For those of you guys that are doing this for the first time, there is an item over here that you need to remember to get, okay? It is a shiny little icon. It can only be gotten once in the dungeon. So just keep that in mind. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down this ladder. Perfect. And we're going to square off the Gallen Below Arcana. But first, we're going to go trigger these ads over here. All right, because the ads are based on the current crisis level of the dungeon. So let's run over here. Okay, trigger these ads. And then, therefore, we won't have to deal with them being stronger than they are right now. All right. So I'm just going to jump over to Sephiroth here. All right, Firaga. And essentially, we are just going to spam Firagas. Now that one of them is down, I'm going to switch over to Fyra. All right, because Fyra as a single potency damage is better than using the AoE. Okay. And that is going to take out the first set of ads, guys. And we are on our way to getting that S+ clear. All right, so here I am. I'm going to run back over here. We're going to go straight into the fight against the Galambal Arcana. At the beginning of the fight, remember, he's just like Stamp. So you're going to want to guard right at the beginning. Switch to defense, and boom, right here. All right, so there's his charge. Make sure you block it. It can do a great amount of damage. You see, it even took me down to half health. All right, so I'm going to recover from that. Switch over to Sephiroth. He's going to jump on the Imperil. Now, he's going to start casting a magic attack here. So we are going to use Amulet Tribute. Okay, Cloud is going to start casting Blazing Strike. So we do have our magic defense up all the way, guys. All right, I'll fire one more time. Matt will just make sure the magic defense is going to last the whole way, and it will. All right, so we're set to guard this. He does lower your physical defense, so I healed with Centipede to get up my HP, heal from the physical defense down. All right, at this point, you're just going to wait. Now, this is when he goes into his Sigil Break, guys. All right, so at this point, you have to play the individual characters, even on manual here, guys. So just keep that in mind. They will opt for their sigils right here. So Sephiroth is going for the Imperil. I'm just going to jump over to Cloud to make sure he doesn't cast sigils. And essentially, we are good to go right here. All right, so that's going to be the Galambal Arcana. That is the strategy where you're not taking out the sigils. Keep in mind that if you are going for the sigil breaks, you are going to need at least one circle sigil boost, if not two. All right, so there we go. So not bad. 56k is pretty solid for that boss. All right, Crisis Dungeon enhanced to level 2. Now, for this first thing right here, I'm just going to take the physical attack plus 20%. It focuses our main DPS, which is Cloud, and it's okay that the other ones don't get a boost. Now, from here, we're going to run all the way back around here. Okay, and we're going to loop all the way back to the back side of this dungeon over here, and we're going to take out the Assault Scorpion and then the Blue Dragon next, and then save the soldiers for later. So for here, I am going to drop a supplement on Matt, Cloud, and Sephiroth, and then I'm going to use a Turbo Ether on Matt just so that he can heal them right off the bat instead of using the high potions right there on all three of them. All right, so this boss can poison you. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to worry about the ads here. Sephiroth can slowly take them out with AoE. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to Defira Surge. I'm going to heal the poison right there on Sephiroth. And here we go. We're looking pretty good. So the main boss is imperiled. I'm just going to keep on the Firas right here. Matt is going to heal, guys. All right, and we're just going to keep everything going. So Sephiroth looking super solid as an AoE Fire DPS in this build right here, which is really fun. I do quite enjoy it a lot. All right, there we go. And that's going to take out the Assault Scorpion right there. So not too bad, not terribly hard. Cure the poisons as soon as they drop. They do tick faster than we want them to, and they can just take down your HP a lot more than it feels like they do. All right, so second boss down. I'm going to take the physical defense plus 50% here, guys, all right? And later on, we're going to get a magic defense plus 50%. All right, so there is this boss right here. I'm just going to make sure we don't need anything. We don't. And I'm going to go into this fight. All right. I'm not going to use any of my summons right here, guys. I am going to save them for the final boss fight. So that's what I do recommend doing here. All right, so we're going to Imperil with Sephiroth first and foremost on the Blue Dragon. Okay. And we are just about done here. All right, there's the fog. But at this point, the Blue Dragon's about to go down. And that's going to be that for that fight. All right. At that point, essentially, I'm just imperiling with Sephiroth right off the bat so that Cloud's hits do more damage on the main boss. Then I'm switching to AoE Firagas with Sephiroth to take down the ads while Cloud continues focusing the main boss. And essentially just using Matt to heal in the interim, raise up whatever I need, physical defense or magic defense for the fight based on the boss's attacks. Now for this one, we could take Fire Potency 10, Lightning resist 50. This would be for the Galambal Arcana if you took a different route, but I do not recommend fighting him later on. I'm going to take the fire potency plus 30%. And let's run over here. We'll grab this chest. Should be our fire cocktails. Beautiful. Let's go. All right. We also got our elixir, which I'm going to show you guys here a good way of using it. All right. So before this fight, we're going to grab this other chest right here. Sounds pretty solid. We're not going to have to use a tent yet. So what I am going to do is drop a fire cocktail on Sephiroth. Okay. And I think that is going to just about do it for these guys. So I'm only going to use Crimson Flare in this fight, just so that I can keep Hellfire for the final boss. So boom, we're going to drop Crimson Flare. Not going to touch any of the other summons right here. We are going to save them for the final boss. There is no Mega Elixir to get all those summons back. Ah, crap, I used Hellfire. Wait, did I use Hell? No, I didn't use Hellfire. Okay. All right, and at this point, just going to use one Firaga, and they're done. Literally that simple, guys. The nice thing about Crimson Flare is it may not do as much damage as Hellfire, but it gives everyone fire potency up in your team. So what it doesn't kill allows your team to do extra damage for the next 15 seconds or so. All right, so there goes that fight. Pretty solid. Now, Sephiroth is the only one here that does not have his limit break, but as you guys just saw, we did just pick up an elixir. Okay, pause on that. Here in this, I am going to take the magic defense plus 50%. So now we have magic defense and physical defense up 50% for the final boss, which is basically solidifying our defenses for survival. There is going to be one last set of adds here. All right, so jumping over to Cloud, he's going to take out one. Jumping over to Sephiroth, he's going to Firaga the rest. Oh, they barely survived, but they did not survive in the end. I love that red sword, by the way. It's super sick. Although this animation right here, you can see the sword looks a little bit bent. It must be hard for them to make an actual, like, true curve in these swords because it has, like, a bent mark in it. Anyways, I just noticed that. All right, so running forward here, here is the final boss fight. Don't forget this blue chest if you haven't gotten it. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to drop a tent. I'm going to drop an elixir on Sephiroth. Okay. I'm going to drop a power jelly on Cloud and a fire cocktail on Cloud and Sephiroth. Now, at the very beginning of this fight, the boss is going to buff all his defenses. And before he does that, I'm going to launch all of our summons. That's why the elixir gets back that Crimson Flare right there. I'm going to show you guys. This is going to make this fight so much easier. All right. So here comes the Behemoth Pawn. First seen in the Crisis Core story when we got to play Sephiroth. All right, so boom, Hellfire and Gigantic Shield. Drop it for the 1.25 times bonus. Okay, all right, there we go. Boom, Crimson Flare. Everyone's fire potency up. Here comes Ifrit. Boom, look at that, guys. Down 65% of his HP right off the bat, and we're buffed and ready to go for the next stage of his DPS. At this point, we're going to switch to Sephiroth. He's going to Firaga Surge. All right, there goes that shield, which we just surpassed, which is fantastic. All right, our Recovery Circle, get our physical defense buff up. And essentially, we are just doing as much damage here as we can. Oh, I guess I could take that Imperil down more. All right. His fire resistance is up, so I'm going to take that Imperil down. Cloud's going to go back into an attack. All right, looking pretty good. And Sephiroth is going to end this with Firaga, or Fyra. And that's going to be the final boss of this Crisis Dungeon, guys. This one is not too bad. I do think that the difficulty here, I've got some comments saying that this fight is too easy, but I still think that for newer players, this fight could pose a pretty good difficulty. So I do think this one is pretty balanced right here. My problem lies in the difference between EX3s and crashes. I think either they need to add an EX4 difficulty, you know, because I do think there's a lot more light spenders than whales in the game. And so I think that, like, we need something that isn't quite a crash, but is not so easy that you can just auto it at the same time. So yeah, guys, that is going to be my clear for this dungeon. Let's see if I can beat my top score. I'm guessing that was an S+ score. If it wasn't, I'm gonna have to go back and redo this entire video. But hopefully, which I've had to do before, guys, it does look like I am getting the S+ score, thankfully, along with all of the rewards of this right here. That being said, if you guys have any questions regarding this fight in correlation to your team, I'm happy to help you guys along the way. I hope this guide was helpful to you guys, and if it was, don't forget to take the time to drop a like on the video and to subscribe to my channel for more Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis content. Hope you all have a wonderful night, take care, and peace.